All right, we're back in San Francisco. We're here at Moscone West on the ground floor, theCUBE's live coverage of RSAC 2026. This is wall-to-wall day 2, and we're super excited to have Umesh Mahajan here. He's the Vice President and General Manager for the Application Networking and Security Division at Broadcom. You may have heard of them, and Prashant Gandhi is the Vice President of Products, Application Networking and Security Division. Same division at Broadcom. Guys, welcome back to theCUBE. Good to see you both again.
Thank you for having us here.
So what's happening? What are you guys doing here? What's the narrative around what Broadcom's doing?
So as our name says, application networking and security, we are very much into security. RSA is the big event. So we are here to talk to customers and see what else is happening, what else is happening at this event, what is everybody saying, and are we on the right track, and are we moving along in the right direction also. So that's what we are here for, and the last couple of years, AI has been top of mind, but this year is all about agentic AI. So we have a strong vision and roadmap in that area. So we are validating that with our customers, CISO meetings in this event, right? The last 2-3 days we are meeting a lot of CISOs and customers to see, are we on the right track? Are we driving the right building blocks to meet their needs? So that's what we are up to.
It's interesting, you're back to 2023 at RSA, and I think it was called RSA then, and it changed the name to RSAC, but we have this chatbot, and it's going to be writing better phishing emails, and we have to be alert, and then kind of last year we started to see reasoning come into play, and more sophisticated attacks, and now it's just this agentic explosion. So you have to respond to that. You're talking to customers, CISOs. I feel like the industry, think about Broadcom semiconductor division, it's like in the 3rd inning of AI, and the customers are still in the 1st inning. There's sort of that gap, and you have to help them close that gap. So what are the CISOs asking you? Are you on the right track?
Yeah, so one is I think CISOs want to make sure that if they buy security products for a company, architecturally they fit their vision, whether it's next year or the following year, right? They are not buying products they'll have to throw away or change their mind in time. And also they want to buy products with the rest of the infrastructure where they are investing in, fit in properly. Second is they want to buy products which they can deploy easily, because with this landscape changing with AI, you have to move at AI speed. You can't take 1 year, 2 years, 3 years deploying security like it has happened in the past. These days you pretty much have to have the architecture up front, MCP servers, LLM, it's going to the cloud LLM, on-prem LLM. How will you have the security architecture fit in? How do you set it up? And all the policies are in place, so as the workloads are spinning up, you can deploy security. So they are going to go with companies where that vision works for them. Otherwise, they'll have to mix and match so many security products together, it'll be a nightmare for them.
I've seen, I think, every wave in the computer industry. I was talking to somebody today, I said, you go back to, you know how the narrative changes in all these waves. You go back to the PC era, it was like PC networking, and even PC printers was a thing, right? And then the internet comes in, and it's like, everything's internet, internet software, and intranet was a thing, right? And then cloud, everything was cloud native, and mobile was mobile apps. Now everything's AI defined, AI native, so we hear AI security platforms. What does that mean to you guys? What does an AI defined security platform really mean?
So one is, we are lucky, we already had a software defined product. So for us, it's not a complete lift and shift kind of an approach. We were not in the appliance security business. We have a software defined product. Already it used to work with VMs and Kubernetes workloads. AI workloads are all going to be Kubernetes. So we are already we already have the right building blocks in place. We are perfectly aligned plug and play with VCF, which is our private cloud offering at Broadcom. So we already had the right building blocks. Now we just have to enhance it. MCP servers, how do we discover them, protect them? Large language models, what do we do over there? As this prevent exfiltration from happening as you're talking to the LLMs outside. So having the right blocks in place, working at the right scale, we have to do enhancements versus complete rip and replace in our stack. So that puts us as a great advantage as this event is taking place.
So architecturally, Prashant, that's actually good news for you. You don't have to as Umesh said, you don't have to rip and replace. How do you think about reshaping that infrastructure, because we're talking about infrastructure here, without making it a bolt-on? You know, so customers want it to be seamless, you know, that's an overused word, I know, but how do you think about that?
We kind of look at it from two vectors, right? One is that you need to deliver security in a defense-in-depth manner. So it's multi-layer security. Even for agentic AI, you can't just, you know, fix one leakage. You got to look at it at every entry point and make sure that you have controls in place. So having defense in depth means that you have to have multiple different technologies. And what happens is that when each technology becomes a tool, it becomes very difficult for CISOs or enterprises to be able to deploy it. And so ours is really an integrated approach, that you get multi-layer defense for traditional security challenges as well as agentic AI security challenges using a single integrated stack. And that's really one, and it's fundamental to that is software defined, right? The second aspect to that is that it is platform integrated. So we have the VMware Cloud Foundation, which is the private cloud, and we are integrated right into the belly of the VCF, which is the hypervisor. And you have to be, for any security to work effectively, you have to do enforcement, prevention, mitigation, not just detection. And you need to do that right next to the workload. And so hypervisor is that best place to do that, and we are integrated there. So I think these two vectors are critical for us to, you know, extend vDefend that we have for agentic AI security.
And that was the fundamental business model shift that Broadcom landed on when it acquired VMware. I mean, obviously Broadcom had software assets, but the premise was, rather than having, you know, separate networking, separate storage, separate compute, I remember the Carbon Black acquisition, there were all these sort of disparate functions. People don't realize, I don't think people understand the degree to which Broadcom has deep engineering roots. You guys are mostly engineers, right? They don't let you walk in the door if you're not an engineer. Well, that's not totally true. You have some marketing people, but generally speaking, you invest in things like integration. That, to Prashant's point, has benefits to customers. I want to ask you about the sort of threat now. The adversary has always been capable. Now they're even more capable because they can make these autonomous attacks. So I want to relate my comment about that tight integration to the escalation in the threat and how you're seeing the need for that architectural advancement in this world today.
So yeah, the attacks are increasing because, you know, all applications, all infrastructure is built with a lot of open source. And once open source is there, AI is the best at finding the vulnerabilities. Because earlier hackers had to read the open source code and figure out which way to attack, Stack Overflow, what do you do? Now AI can do all that for you. Write a couple of agents, it can crawl through million lines of open source, and then it'll mercilessly attack your environment one by one, because just some agent is running and it's just sweeping through it. So it's going to find a way to compromise your perimeter firewall, get in. So really, you have to have the defense all the way built in the security, and you have to imagine ahead where these attacks are going to come in. Something likely might get compromised. So you have to do segmentation all the way. Defense in depth, different features, security features, but also stop signs all, just like when you're trying to, you know, get into an airport, right? There are multiple places where they check your security. Not 1, 2, 3 sometimes, because you can get through one. So the same way we have to have that, and that's where inside the data center you have to have a lot of protection points, and that's where we shine with our vSphere, VCF integration, lateral security, lateral segmentation. Is just not layer 4, layer 7, IDS, IPS, NTA, NDR, advanced threat prevention, and after that, the agentic AI kind of attacks, they're going to have some special elements. You have to be able to detect that and protect against those. But above all, you have to provide the full visibility. Because in security, if you don't have visibility, you could be sitting there happy, everybody's stealing your assets and you don't know. So we can provide that deep visibility sitting in the hyper. We see every single packet. So we have all the elements without putting sniffers and gigamons. We can give you that end-to-end security. And then if any compromise is happening, it's happening here, and we can tell you exactly, put these security elements here. Even if 2 hosts get compromised, don't let your entire infrastructure get compromised. And then, with all these elements happening, MCP, LLMs and all that, you have to also look at traffic headed out to the large language models if we are going to leverage them from the public cloud. You're not sending some information which is proprietary. How do you block that? Because developers are developers. They'll write code quickly, and Anthropic, Gemini, whatever is using to generate the code. And we see all kinds of proprietary information can be headed out. So you have to use something like DLP to prevent that. So all those elements you have to put in your security stack, seamlessly working together at the right network points. So that's what our architecture will do.
Your point about open source is interesting, and Prashant, how closely you followed the OpenClaw trend.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. I was talking to Google this morning, and they told me that it was Mandiant, and they said that more than 800 of the OpenClaw skills that you could download, these wonderful looking skills, more than 800 are malware. Right? So this is what you have to protect against.
Absolutely. I mean, the attack surface with AI in the mix is just exploding, right? And so the key to this, if you really look at any AI-generated attack, ultimately what happens is that the perimeter is breached, the attacker gets in, lands on a weakly protected asset, then moves laterally, right? And that lateral propagation is where we come in, because we lay the trap in the lateral world, and that's where we drive zero trust, right? So now the question for CISOs is, how do you enable this across all workloads very quickly, right? And so we have come up with a 4-step process, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? We define 1, 2, 3, 4, and that allows customers to do lateral segmentation to drive zero trust lateral security, right? In matter of weeks to a few months across their entire application asset. And to us, it's not just about integrating, it's not just about having closed loop security, but it's not just defense in depth, but also how do you deploy it comprehensively in a very quick manner, because that's the only way you can buy down risk. And that's, we are building, Umesh's directive is to, I would like to have the product get deployed quickly by customers. It has to be consumed. The innovations have to be consumed quickly. And these are ways we are building tooling right into the product so CISOs can deploy them quickly.
So, you mentioned zero trust a couple times. I mean, zero trust pre-COVID was like kind of a buzzword. And then post-COVID and during COVID it came a mandate. And now it's sort of getting overwhelmed by AI, everybody AI everything, like I was saying, from PC printers to AI. And so, so you've got this lateral movement that you described. Zero trust is still important. It's hard to operationalize. You've got to do segmentation, micro-segmentation, but you also have to do threat prevention. And again, CISOs tell me that the NIST framework and zero trust frameworks are great, but we have to figure out how to operationalize them. That's the hard part. How do you bring together things like threat prevention, segmentation, so that I can operationalize more easily?
It's an excellent question, and that's why we started at VMware mainly with the distributed firewall 10, 12 years ago. Since the last 5, 6 years, we have been investing heavily in advanced threat prevention, which is IDS, IPS, NT, NDR, and malware prevention. So we have put these assets together, but then we figured out we have these assets, but only so many customers manage to deploy it. What is the problem? We've written all the documentation, we give talks, YouTube videos, why are they not able to deploy it? So it's like many times what we find our customers don't know which kind of sensor to deploy, what does this mean, how do you interpret the NIST framework, what is this, what is that? There are obviously a few security folks over there who are very, very good and who know what to do. And they go ahead and deploy it. But the rest, I would say almost 75% of our customers don't know. So they are caught in this niche. Yes, we want to do it, but no, we can't do it, right? And they just keep talking. So again, just like we talked about vDefend 1, 2, 3, 4, we are also rolling out vDefend Advanced Threat Prevention 1, 2, 3. We're making it very, very prescriptive. If you have these kind of things, at least put this basic stuff in place, get the basic stuff deployed first, get to 50%, 60% security level, then do the advanced. Don't start the opposite way. The most complicated thing, you never get to the other side, because you get stuck over there. Start from the simple, prescriptive way, which you tell you exactly, these are the 9 sensors you deploy, not the 24. This will cover 60, 70% of the kind of attacks. Then you successively move up the chain and automate the whole thing and tell them exactly which requirements are being met by that. That's the only way we believe customers will move and get secure in the zero trust journey and this fight against these multiple attacks coming. I think you talked about Google Mediant, right? They just sent out a report that EDR alone is not sufficient. You have to do NDR. You have to detect the behavioral attacks and protect against them. If EDR is endpoint security, that doesn't prevent everything. Like CrowdStrike can't protect you from everything. There are other aspects in the data center that you'll have to do. And XYZ are the reason. And we've been saying that for some time, but I'm making it really easy for customers how they deploy it.
Well, because you control the whole stack, you're really talking about deeply embedding security into every aspect of your system, of your architecture,
yes,
versus bolting it on. We talk about that all the time, but so what does that mean? Like, I think bolt on is, I have an appliance or an array or whatever it is, I'm going to plug it in. Now that component might be secure in and of itself, but then there's seams. So yeah, explain that.
Bolt on, we also mean like you bought products from, most customers buy security products from 10 vendors. Okay, NTNDR, this vendor, firewall from one vendor, IDS, IPS. Bolt-on also means, first of all, those releases are not quite certified against each other and with the underlying stack. They don't plug in place, so you have to spend a lot of time redirecting traffic through one security product, then the next, and then you get these detection and signals and alerts from the different security elements. How do you make sense out of that? Oh, we'll put it in Splunk, and then we'll look at it, and then some security analysts will look at, okay, who has these beautiful security analysts will put sense? And these days, AI is so good, you don't need some of the security analysts. We did some experiment recently. If you're able to see the attacks quickly and have the data, it'll tell you exactly what the attack is. And that's what we are putting into our security product too. We are using AI. What is it a real attack or not? Tell me right now, and we'll expose it to the customer. You don't need days of sifting through data to figure out. AI and LLM machine will do that for you and spit out the result. And it is quite, I don't want to exactly say how accurate, but well into the 80-90% accuracy, that's what we are finding. Better than humans, almost sometimes.
So presumably you're using this, these techniques within your own organization.
Yes.
You guys eat your own dog food, some people call it drinking your own champagne, whatever, but this is something that you have practical experience implementing internally, is it not?
Yeah. Yes, Broadcom IT is leveraging our products and is deploying it for many reasons, right? To provide the security, because Broadcom is a big enterprise, right? We run a lot of software workloads and ASIC workloads, and we don't want our ASIC IP to be stolen under any circumstances.
I'm sure a lot of people would love to get their hands on your SerDes.
So there's heavy protection going on over there, and all kinds of attacks happen there too. All day long. So our products have to hold up in that environment. And for me, what the good thing is, that team gives me excellent feedback. They're the best internal customer, and they're very demanding too. Hey, that's to scale better if for tomorrow's environment and so on, so that we have an excellent relationship, and they are saving tons of money also by using our products.
So I have been a judge on the CUBE Awards. I was not a judge in this last round, but you guys won an award for the Avi load balancer. What's new with that? Why do you, these judges, this is independent. We've got dozens and dozens of judges. They put a lot of time in, so thank you all for doing that. So it's something that we're really proud of. The community has come together. You were recognized. Why do you think you were recognized, and what's new with Avi, and how is innovation, what's the roadmap look like?
Yeah, I'm kind of speaking out of turn. Umesh is the co-founder of Avi, so he knows Avi inside out. But Avi, has a most modern architecture. It is the only software-defined load balancer today for on-prem and hybrid cloud, right? There's no other software load balancer out there. That is a unique characteristic. It brought elasticity, it brought scale out, it brought distributed capabilities, it brought terabit performance, unique in the load balancing space. But what we have done recently, and we're very fortunate to get the award, is really take Avi to the next level. So we have increased performance for SSL, which is super important for a load balancer, by 6x, by integrating with technologies like Intel QAT. Then we have brought post-quantum crypto capabilities. This whole concept of record now and harvest later is very much there. A lot of banks and federal agencies are worried about SSL keys getting cracked by quantum in future. And so how do you have quantum resistant crypto? And so Avi has now that capability. And we are seeing web application firewall being now for agentic AI, because if you look at MCP, Model Context Protocol, that is embedded in HTTPS. And so in order for you to have MCP intelligence, MCP discovery, MCP session persistence from load balancing perspective and from web application protection perspective, you need the load balancer, and Avi is perfect for that. So I think a lot of these have been there. And finally, I would say that we have seen customers take Avi analytics to the next level. They are taking analytics and giving it to DevOps teams, application owners, and say, hey, go look at Avi dashboard, figure out where your problem is, fix it yourself, and don't come to us. And we have seen customers reduce their tickets by 90%, up to 90%. And that is the level of kind of optimization and cost savings that Avi delivers, Avi of today delivers to customers.
Well, that's congratulations on winning that award. I know how much goes into it. As I say, I've been a judge, and the detail that you guys submit is greatly appreciated. I don't want to be a fearmonger, but I do want to close on a topic that is very important. It's ironic. John Olczyk wrote a piece before RSAC saying the theme, of course, is the power of community, and yet all the talk is around agentic. Machines talking to machines, but of course there's still many humans around. But agents, agentic, it's been the talk of the month, the quarter, the day. What does that mean for the attack surface? How concerned should we be?
I think it is concerning because we are using AI in different ways within the company too, right? We are using AI to increase our productivity, to generate code, and what we've seen in the last 12 months is like made a believer out of me. In the beginning, no, it'll never be able to change embedded code, screw it, it can't understand. It can. It's getting us code at 99% accuracy.
Incredible.
What more can you ask? You train it a little bit and it's almost there, as good as human, and better than some of the engineers, sad to say, right? Because it can work much faster over there. So if we are able to use it that well, the attackers and some of the hackers are really, really good. Maybe with a slightly twisted mind, but they're really, really good. God knows what they will do with those tools at their disposal. How fast the attacks will come and how devious they can be. So I think we have to be super concerned in this day and age, because the attacks, like 3 years ago it was ransomware, then it was okay, they're coming faster, now is agentic AI workloads. People will spawn off without thinking and will not do the protection because there's so much pressure to increase productivity in the companies, you will be forced to do it. Security is okay, we'll worry about it a little bit later and they'll get compromised. So I think the danger is right now in the next 2-3 years as this, people don't know how they will be attacked. And the people who don't do anything will be sorry about it.
All right, guys, we got to wrap up. Prashant, I'll give you a last word on your thoughts.
I mean, there is obviously silver lining, right? Our approach is, leverage AI to improve our cyber portfolio, right? AI for cyber. And the opposite side of the coin, which is, take our cyber portfolio and apply it to AI to secure AI workloads, agentic AI workloads. So we are, looking at MCP-fying our capabilities so we can take out rogue, agents, rogue data stores, rogue MCP services. Very important. Lock down all of that assets. Any exfiltration that occurs, look at content security and flag that. And overall, how do you sandbox agents so that they are able to do what they're supposed to do, but no more, right? The principle of least privilege applied to agents. I think these are exciting areas, and we think that with our architecture, which is software-defined, platform-integrated, multi-layer, converged stack, we think it is kind of the right way to get to this nirvana.
Shadow AI is obviously concerning a lot of people. I would imagine that Broadcom as an organization has very strong governance. Many organizations don't. How concerned are you about Shadow AI?
Yeah, Shadow AI can again, same way cause that problem, right?
Yeah.
Because people use their work laptop to do different things and they start doing it for their own, then I can use it for work too. And that's where that danger line happens, and we're finding strange attacks are happening. I mean, the CEOs get routinely, like people, I got an email, this is Hawk Tan, I was about to click, no, this email is strange, or something over there. I stopped right at the thing. So they're happening all the time. So Shadow AI, people will do things and get compromised. But I think customers have to latch onto the right architecture and act upon it. They can't procrastinate for a year or 2 years. If they do, either through governance model, don't allow anything. Broadcom has a very tight governance model. Doesn't mean we can't use leverage AI. We do in a very heavy fashion. But an investment has been made around that. What is the sandbox? What can you do? How can you do? And how do you operate? Either you do that or you'll be in for some surprise.
And we've all been there. I mean, experienced security pro like yourself. Myself, I'm always very careful, but I find myself multitasking sometimes.
Sometimes you click.
Whoa, thank you for that warning. So, guys, thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
For coming back on theCUBE. Really appreciate your support. All right, and thank you for watching. This is theCUBE's live coverage of RSAC 2026. Dave Vellante for Christophe Bertrand and John Olczyk. We'll be right back right after this short break.